In the golden haze of a Jerusalem dawn, the city stirred like a lion awakening from slumber. The year was 970 BCE, and King David, warrior, poet, and Israel's greatest king, lay dying in his cedar palace. His bedchamber reeked of myrrh and regret, the air thick with the whispers of scheming sons. David's eldest, Adonijah, tall and golden-haired like a temple idol, had already proclaimed himself king, with chariots thundering at En-Rogel Spring and priests anointing him under shady terebinth trees. He feasted with the mighty, Joab the blood-stained general, Abiathar the high priest, and a cadre of young lions eager for power. "My father is old," Adonijah boasted, his voice like polished bronze. "The throne is mine by right of birth." But David, his eyes milky with age, remembered a vow made in the heat of youth. Bathsheba, the woman whose beauty had once toppled his soul, knelt by his side. Her son Solomon, slender, with eyes like deep wells and a quiet fire, had been promised the crown. "My lord," she pleaded, her voice a silken blade, "Adonijah moves against us. Will you let him slay my son?" David's hand trembled as he gripped his scepter. "Call Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the warrior," he rasped. The chamber filled with holy men, their robes whispering like wind through olives. "Solomon," David declared, "you shall ride my mule, the king's own, and be anointed at Gihon Spring. Proclaim him king over Israel." The plot ignited like dry tinder. Solomon, barely 20, mounted David's gray mule, its flanks steaming in the morning chill. Trumpets blared from the city walls as Zadok poured sacred oil over his head, the liquid gleaming like liquid gold. "Long live King Solomon!" roared the crowd, drowning Adonijah's distant cheers. Panic seized the usurper. His feast dissolved into chaos. Guests fled like startled deer. Adonijah bolted to the tabernacle, clutching the horns of the altar, a desperate sanctuary. Solomon, merciful in his newborn power, spared him. "If he is loyal, not a hair of his head shall fall, but treachery, his blood waters the dust." David's final breath came that night, his psalms unfinished on his lips. Solomon buried him with honors on Mount Zion, then turned to the throne. Enemies circled, Philistines to the west, Edomites to the south, and whispers of rebellion within. Joab, the old butcher, eyed him warily. Yet Solomon dreamed not of swords, but of wisdom. As the sun set over the Judean hills, he whispered to the stars, "Who am I to rule this lion's den?" High on the tabernacle hill at Gibeon, where the bronze altar smoked under a canopy of stars, Solomon offered 1,000 burnt sacrifices. The flames leaped like joyous spirits, carrying the scent of rams and bulls to the heavens. Exhausted, the young king slept in the royal tent, his dreams a whirlwind of fire and light. In that vision the Lord appeared, not as thunderous Yahweh of battles, but as a father to a son. "Ask," God said, his voice like the murmur of the Jordan, "what shall I give you?" Solomon's heart pounded. Armies? Gold? Long life? No. He bowed low. "You showed mercy to David my father. I am but a little child, ruling a great people. Give me wisdom, an understanding heart to judge your people, to discern good from evil. Without it, I am lost." The divine laughter was warm, like honeyed wine. "Because you did not ask for riches or victory over foes, I grant your desire. Wisdom beyond measure, deeper than the seas, sharper than Damascus steel. And more, riches, honor, long days, if you walk in my ways." Solomon awoke drenched in dew, his soul alight. Dawn broke as he descended to Jerusalem, and the first test came swiftly. 2 harlots, women of the night, their faces lined with toil, dragged their quarrel to the throne room. Crowds packed the cedar hall, murmuring like bees. "This woman's son died in the night. She rolled over him in sleep. Mine lives, yet she stole it while I slumbered."
"Liar!" shrieked the second. "Your child strangled, mine thrives. Give him back." Solomon's courtiers held their breath. The king leaned forward, his eyes piercing. "Bring me a sword." A blade flashed in the torchlight. "Cut the living child in two, half for each." Horror rippled through the hall. The true mother lunged, tears streaming. "No, my lord, give her the child. Let him live." The liar smirked. "It shall be neither yours nor mine." Solomon's voice boomed. "Give the babe to the weeping woman. She is the mother." Cheers erupted. The queen of wisdom had spoken. Word flew on eagle wings. Solomon's judgment was divine. Kings trembled, queens envied. And in his private chambers, Solomon wept for the near-lost life, whispering, "Wisdom is a heavy crown."
With wisdom secured, Solomon turned to stone and cedar. Israel shall have a house for God, he proclaimed, greater than Egypt's pyramids, holier than Sinai's peak. He allied with Hiram, king of Tyre, a Phoenician fox with ships of fur and artisans of gold. "Send me cedar from Lebanon," Solomon bartered, "and I pay in wheat and oil." Hiram's forests groaned as axes bit deep. Rafts floated the scented logs down the coast to Joppa, hauled by oxen over Judean hills. 10,000 Israelites toiled in shifts, quarrying limestone at Baalbek, hauling timbers through wadis. Solomon's own hand blistered on the stones. He labored beside them, singing David's psalms. The temple rose on Mount Moriah, where Abraham once bound Isaac. Foundation stones, massive as elephants, sank into bedrock. Walls of hewn stone gleamed, windowless to guard the holy flame. Cedar beams carved with gourds and lilies soared to a roof of gold. The Holy of Holies, a perfect cube of cypress, housed the ark, veiled by cherubim wings spanning 15 feet, their faces fierce as lions. Outside, the royal palace sprawled, judgment hall of ivory and gold, harem wings for 1,000 brides, armories for chariots of iron. 13 years it took, the air alive with hammers, chants, and the scent of acacia resin. Solomon imported apes and peacocks from Ophir, almug wood for harps that sang like angels. On the 7th month of the 11th year, dedication day, trumpets shattered the sky. Israel gathered, 2 million souls from Dan to Beersheba. Priests bore the ark up Zion's steps, its poles trembling like David's hands. As it entered the sanctuary, a cloud filled the house, the Shekinah glory. Priests fled blinded by light. "The Lord has come," Solomon cried, falling prostrate. He ascended a bronze platform, arms wide. "O Lord, who dwells in thick darkness, hear our prayers. When famine strikes or plague ravages, let this house be our plea." Rain fell as he spoke, miraculous drops on parched earth. Fire leapt from heaven, consuming sacrifices. The people bowed, weeping. He has blessed us forever. That night, God appeared again. "I have hallowed this house. Walk upright, or I raze it like Shiloh." Solomon's heart swelled, glory incarnate. But in the shadows, darker appetites stirred. Solomon's fame burned brighter than temple lamps. Merchants whispered of his court, tables groaning with venison, porpoise, and falcon's tongues, goblets of topaz sparkling with Sheba's wine. He spoke 3,000 proverbs, composed 1,000 songs, lilies preaching modesty, cedars boasting strength. He classified plants from hyssop to oak, beasts from ant to eagle. Greek sages crossed seas to debate him. Egyptian scribes copied his riddles. Gold poured in, 666 talents yearly from Tarshish galleys, Ophir mines yielding ivory, sandalwood, and baboons chattering in cages. Solomon's throne? A marvel of ivory overlaid with gold, 6 steps flanked by lions, armrests, griffins' heads. He built Tadmor in the desert, Hazor fortresses, store cities gleaming like stars. Then came the Queen of Sheba, queen of sun-baked Sabea, where frankincense trees wept resin and camels' caravan spices. Dark-eyed, robed in scarlet and myrrh, she rode with 10,000 camels, her question sharper than scimitars. I heard of your wisdom, she purred, eyes like black opals, but words are wind, prove it. Solomon smiled, a panther's grace. For 6 months they sparred in the cedar hall. What has roots nobody sees, taller than trees? Up it goes, yet never grows, he posed. Mountain, she shot back. Her turn. I come from a land of gold, bearing gifts for a king wiser than Solomon. Camels unloaded, 120 talents of gold, spices to perfume a nation, jewels like frozen fire. Solomon answered all. Hard questions on astronomy, ethics, the dance of stars. Stumped, she gasped, your God must be truth itself. Banquets followed. Spiced meats, lyres twanging love songs. Whispers grew. The queen slipped to his chambers, her laughter mingling with his. A son? Legends say yes. Menelik, who stole the ark to Ethiopia. She left laden with gifts, proclaiming, happier are your people, who feast at your table forever. But romance was Solomon's snare. He wed Pharaoh's daughter, Egyptian fire in his bed, Moabite princesses, Ammonite beauties, Sidonian sirens, 700 wives, 300 concubines, each a diplomat, each a whisperer of foreign gods. Build me a shrine, pleaded Naamah the Ammonite. Solomon's heart turned. Altars rose on the Mount of Olives to Chemosh and Molech. 20 years of splendor cracked like desert earth. Solomon's wisdom, once a beacon, dimmed under lust's weight. His harem ballooned. Wives burned incense to Ashtoreth, the starry queen of lust. Do not turn my heart, God had warned, but Solomon built high places for Milcom, abomination of the gods of his Egyptian bride. Rebellion brewed. Jeroboam, a burly Ephraimite overseer of forced labor, tore his cloak before a shattered altar. One tribe for Judah, Ahijah the prophet roared, ripping his garment into 12. 10 for you if you obey the Lord. Jeroboam fled to Egypt, Pharaoh's sword his shield. Hadad the Edomite, a princeling spared in youth, returned venomous from exile. David slaughtered my kin, he snarled, allying with Damascus. Rezin the Syrian harried borders. Within, taxes crushed the people. 30,000 conscripted for Lebanon timber, 70,000 burden-bearers sweating blood. Solomon dreamed again, but now of judgment. I will tear the kingdom from your son, God thundered, yet for David's sake, not in your days. The king fortified Jerusalem, Millo wall thick as a dragon's hide, Leo city gates snarling with bronze lions. Chariots, 1,400 strong, rumbled in Hazor stables. Yet folly deepened. He taxed the north until outcry echoed like thunder. Abiathar, the priest, once Adonijah's ally, was banished for treason. Joab, hiding at the altar, met Benaiah's sword, blood splattering sanctuary horns. Even there justice finds you, Solomon said coldly. The harem's gods multiplied. Solomon, graying at 40, sacrificed at pagan shrines, his wives' veils hiding tears of joy. Peace through alliance, he rationalized, but prophets mourned, wisdom wasted on idols. The end came swift as a Sinai storm. Jeroboam returned, 10 tribes rallying. Solomon's yoke is iron, his gods are dung. At Shechem, they crowned the upstart. Solomon mobilized 12,000 chariots, horsemen like locusts, but God stayed his hand. Not yet, the divine whisper urged. Hadad struck from Edom, Rezin from Syria, borders bled. Solomon's palace, once a joy, echoed with concubines' foreign tongues and infants' cries from illicit unions. Taxes tripled, famine gnawed Galilee. The king taxes our very breath. Peasants rioted, torches flaming in Gibeon streets. In his 60th year, Solomon sat on the lion throne, hollow-eyed.
Wisdom's proverbs mocked him. The fear of the Lord is the beginning, but I have begun with folly. A final dream, God stern. Your heart strayed. The kingdom splits. Your son keeps Judah, one tribe for David's line. I spare you for my covenant. Death came quietly in 930 BCE, heart failing amid myrrh candles. He was buried in the city of David, beside his father, gold shield over his tomb. 40 years he ruled, 20 of blaze, 20 of shadow. Israel fractured. Rehoboam, his vain son, lost the north to Jeroboam's golden calves. Centuries later, Solomon's temple stood defiant until Nebuchadnezzar's flames. His wisdom endures in Proverbs, Ecclesiastes' vanities, Song of Songs' passion. Greatest king? Richest? Wisest? Yes, but human. All is vanity, he wrote. But in that truth his glory lives, a warning, a wonder, a crown forever thorned.